game for that reminder today because I'm giving away other games. Sorry, Nicholas. You waited all this time. Matthew's already ready for Thursday. I am giving away other games. Fabulous prizes, I promise.
Game 7's here.
Woo-woo.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. We're going to give it another minute or two for people to arrive. I love it when my little Brady Bunch window gets full and the boxes turn smaller and smaller. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Sweet, we got Raph too.
We got Raph, we got Jess, we've got McKenna.
Harsh Patel's here too. Nice.
McKenna has cool LED lights behind her. I should deck out my place, but I've got professorial books. See, that if you actually, I don't know, zoomed in on the titles of those books, you'd probably all be appalled. But feel free.
McKenna, are those a bunch of D&D die in like containers behind you?
Are we not talking about the giant, I assume, Pello D20?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This guy?
Yep.
Mine's not quite as big. It's my squeeze ball D20, so I can relieve my carpal tunnel syndrome.
But a Pello can also be a squeeze ball.
When it comes to
yeah, these are just little test tubes of dice here.
caltrops.
Yep.
Ooh,
yeah, well, it's really nice.
Harsh with the super build.
When
Is that what you're using to brute force a lot of our puzzles?
I saw an article about
RTX 3090 somehow.
It all makes sense.
Sorry, it's a probe droid, but it's still in the box, so it's anyway.
There's an article about politicians and poli-sci people, how in the background of a lot of Zoom calls, they'll have their books lined up, and in particular, the Robert Caro book, The Power Broker, was like in the background of like so many people's stack of books.
Speaking of books,
I've got a talking Mjolnir.
Speaking of books, I know there's one person on the news who had books like arranged by color for some reason.
Yes, I've seen that. People do that. Okay, so let's get started. Yes, this class actually has people in it instead of a bunch of black names.
Roasted.
And it's yeah, I like talking to people instead of black names. Not that there's anything wrong with black names, but I like seeing faces. So hi, welcome. This is for players and creators of that brings me always to my first question, which is, what do we call this? What did you guys have a name for this? Was it just the ARG or the other ARG, or what did you call it?
The official name was The Grave of the Immortal Man.
Okay, which is a mouthful.
A little bit, yeah.
The get James out of all the stupid situations he gets himself in, ARG.
Not
that
incorrect.
Is perfect.
I don't know. What did I think of it? I was thinking usually it takes on the name of the website. So I was thinking of it as the Gray Science ARG, maybe. but then but before, because I don't know, what do you call these things?
Oh, Jimbo's Adventure.
Jimbo's Adventure. Jimbo, who still has a MySpace. The MySpace ARG, the excuse to procrastinate on final assignments. Woo! We are here to serve, right? Adopted James. Okay. The James ARG. Okay.
We only use hex codes twice. All I'm saying.
No, we use hex codes more than that. Like we had file names that were like classified by hex codes.
I did use
codes.
Okay,
That was me.
I only used them twice. I don't know.
I use them for like naming the case files because I'm like, oh hey, it's like a case file number, right? What already has a hash in it? Color hex codes.
Well, that
someone
doesn't
went
count.
through and got the color
Gameplay
for all
only
those out.
twice.
Oh yeah,
that was okay, when are the hex codes gonna come in?
Oh god. Yeah, the case files was not a puzzle. I just did that for flavor.
Okay, so personally, I'm all for you guys all just talking and I don't have to moderate. But I'm gonna do a little moderating anyway. So Jimbo's Bizarre Adventure, the Gray Science ARG. So my question for players, is there, can somebody tell me the story of the ARG? I'm gonna mute.
Good timing.
All right, well, while he's on the phone call, would anybody like to answer his question that played our game?
I could give the story, I think.
Okay.
So, basically, James gets hired for a job. The beginning is the haziest part for me, but he goes and investigates the grave of Ephraim Gray. Am I saying that right? Ephraim, okay. So he investigates the grave and finds that there's like no one in it, or it's a different body, I forget which one, but Ephraim is not there. And so he ends up finding a link to Gray Sciences, and through that you basically get access to like the employee timetables, and James goes to investigate the lab when no one is working there. My memory's a bit hazy around this point if someone else wants to pick it up. I remember the later part.
At that point, he gets kidnapped or something. We lose track of him. He comes back all locked up with the, and then we free him, and then he has explosive chip in his neck, which we get rid of, and then it ends, I guess.
We saved Jimbo.
Sorry.
There was a loop in the middle there that was sort of missing, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking of. There was the video of Ephraim being stabbed and having something stolen from him.
Right.
But I forget exactly what was right before that, because there was something in between the first break-in and when he got captured.
Yeah.
Only
Jack, do you want to fill in the blank?
So
I could.
Who is capturing Jimbo?
The gods. Yeah.
Okay. And why did he want to break into the lab?
Get more information.
Okay.
He's an investigator. He investigates.
Yeah. Okay.
The thirst for knowledge.
But it was about this empty or wrong grave. And so vampirism was a case file in the catalog. Yeah. So when you saved him, he had a chip in his neck, and then you got rid of the chip. So we're back to Jimbo's an investigator and life is good. Is that
so? The incriminating evidence was sent to a reporter named Dean O'Donnell.
Oh yeah. In my flash drive.
Yes.
Okay. So and what was the incriminating evidence?
We didn't have like real actual files of
No,
incriminating evidence, but we sort of just said like, oh, it's, you know, a bunch of like videos and files on what they've been doing and all of their
what have they been
employees.
doing?
They've been experimenting on humans and trying to make like an immortality serum. And they've also been doing stuff with lots of other seemingly mythological beings. So
yeah, if you read the
massively
case
illegal
file
stuff.
on Ephraim, you would see that he was experimented on with a drug that was blacked out, and then he kind of like tried to escape from them, and that was why they were trying to hunt him back down.
Okay, so bigger picture, then they're trying to make immortality serum.
Yes,
and
so Ephraim was born in 1809.
Right.
And he's in the Discord server in 2021.
Right. So Ephraim's got immortality, or at least he's just very long lived.
Which is also why he got up after being stabbed and dying in that video.
Yeah, so he's Captain America.
Pretty much.
I'd say
Without
closer
the
to
shield.
Wolverine, but
yeah, probably closer to Wolverine.
Okay. So have we stopped the gray labs? Are they
Probably
foiled?
so.
Have we exposed them?
As Mr. Big Writer Man, I will canonically say yes. The government like arrests all of them and they all go to prison, and that's the end.
Okay,
there you go.
But really in the real world, they all get a fine, which is a small percentage of their gross income.
In the real world, they get co-opted into American defense research.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing ever bad happens to
no.
whistleblowers in the United
They're
States,
shut
ever.
down, but all of them randomly are also hired by the CDC.
Yeah. They now work for DARPA.
Probably.
Operation Paperclip. Okay. So we it's interesting because there's both a micro and a macro story, which is basically investigator gets in trouble and we save him, yay. But then the bigger story is immortality guy gets experimented on, and we both do we where did Ephraim end up?
Ephraim escapes before the story starts.
Okay.
And that's part of like the case files. But he sort of like disappears into the night, and he tells the player not to give the government any information on him.
Okay.
So
he's already gone
life.
at the start?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the start, he had escaped from the Gods organization, and they were like trying to hunt him down. They didn't have too many leads on him until they found that video footage of him being stabbed in Cambridge, and so they were back on his track.
Right. Okay. Whew. So we've got kind of levels of story, right? We've got what happened, which is what we're finding out, and then what we're trying to stop. It's not necessarily saving the world, which is fine. Once we played a game where we tried to get two characters to fall in love, and that was fine. Although a little creepy at times. It was like, why are we doing this? This feels like stalking. For once, saving a person's life seems like an interesting and fun problem. Okay, so this is the opening of the sequel. This is the first scene of part 2.
No.
No. Question for players again. Was there anything where you were confused or fuzzy on what was happening, or you want to ask, how was this? How did this work? Or why did we do this? Or what have you? Any questions you have for the creators, players?
Of the puzzles, trying to remember. I'm trying to remember which one that was brute forced. The cryptogram.
That was a fun. That was yeah. Do you have a specific question on that?
But just what was the intended solve path for that?
So the solve path was actually the solve path that we ended up incorporating the next day to get the keyword again. So the answer was deathless, and you found that from the numbers that were embedded inside of comments inside of the admin pages. So if you had found that the day before, we would have probably had to come up with a different gameplay puzzle for the next day. But since you brute forced it and never found the code word, we actually looped back to that and made you solve it to get the, I think it was the password to the jail security site. Yeah, you were actually really close with this. You tried to brute force it a second time the next day, and you got really close with getting deathly. If you had just like manipulate that a little bit to try to get some other words out of death, you would have had it. But you ended up following the hints that we gave you to actually find it the way we had intended.
Anything else? Any other questions that you want to know that's been bugging you? No. Okay. Creators, do you have questions for your players? Anything you're like, wait, why did you go off in this direction? Dean's entire career has been a plan to induct people in an extremely long-running ARG. Did anyone ever say go pound sand?
I think one question we had was, you guys seemed so focused on brute forcing some of our puzzles, and we were like, why?
No, that was just me kind of in every call after every like day when we were checking in for the next day, and Gabe was like, hey, yeah, this is how they solved today. I was like, great, hooray, fun, good. So yeah, that was interesting.
Check is a valid method for sure.
Yeah.
I do find it funny on the cipher one that we had to loop back around. We had like 3 meetings on like implementing that with like multiple people, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be. We originally it was like immortal, I think, and then we're like, oh, but that's too brute forceable. We should change it up. We got to make sure they don't brute force it, and then it got brute forced.
I got brute forced in a different way.
Yeah, I got brute forced in the way we didn't expect, which was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of brute forcing, which maybe so when I brute force things, it's because I feel like I've run out of clues, and there's I just then throw up my hands and say, well, I'm going to try everything, and start throwing dictionaries at things, right? So what Jaden says, you got about 48 from one person. Is that just throwing dictionaries at the password? It was like 20. Okay. So but at the same time, then you got to ask yourself, why are your players brute forcing things? What's going on here? Have we not given them enough information about how to solve? Because honestly, there used to be, and this is very old school, there were the 10 commandments of ARGs, and number 2 or 3 was like, thou shalt not brute force, right? There should be a way to do everything without brute forcing. I've stopped saying that because sometimes you just gotta throw a dictionary. So what was players? This is for players again. What was your favorite thing? What was the coolest thing that happened? What made you cheer, or made you get the tingles? That somebody's watching or something. The amount of info we were giving to players was a constant talking point during meetings. Were
Yeah.
you giving too much, too little?
Especially after like the second day, like the day after the rabbit hole, after they solved that really quickly, we're like, maybe we have to rethink how we do this. So yeah, I definitely agree with John.
Yeah, so you never know, right? Because if your players are breezing through something, you feel like you screwed up, right? But have you? Because they're doing it, right? But if people get stuck, then they're stuck and you notice that they're stuck. Then there's no forward movement,
Yeah.
and that's when things get frustrating. So Raf was really happy when he found the hex codes in the view source. Sean says the length of time it took for each puzzle was also a big talking point. So then the question becomes, what is the optimal amount of time for a puzzle to take, right? Should it take 5 minutes or should it take 5 hours? Maybe 5 minutes is okay. Maybe 5 hours is too long. I can't speak for others, but since it's final week, I was kind of feeling time crunched since I wanted to see everything in the ARG, but I had stuff to do. Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why somebody said, hey, they got through all our stuff in like 2 hours. Is that enough? And I'm like, yeah.
I think our longest day took 3.5 hours, but for the most part, it was between 2 to 3 hours for all of our days.
So the idea isn't that we're going to monopolize your time for this entire week. It's, hey, stop in, play something, right? And then go about your day. Emily really enjoyed interacting with James. Yay. Who was James? Was that you, Jess? Yay. His responses to my comments made me laugh. Jack says Jess giving him an incredible character. She gave him a lot of quirks that honestly made him a highlight of the ARG for me. Yay, Jess. Everyone likes James, even though he still has a MySpace account.
Look, pros and cons. There's always got to be a dark side.
I always think of people with MySpace accounts now is they have to have a band, right? Everybody with a MySpace account now plays in a band in their garage and puts up their demo tapes. All my associates, I'm living with my mom.
I know one thing that was fun was seeing Ephraim pop into the Discord, and I didn't get the chance to ask him anything, but I really wanted to like ask him stuff about.
That was a last minute addition. That wasn't the plan. I kind of just came up with that the night before. It's like we should have Ephraim show up in the Discord, and we rolled with it.
Yeah.
Was the song on James' MySpace, was that just because it sticks a reference to immortality, or was there more to that?
There was a little bit more. That was part of it. I'm glad someone picked up on that. I personally really like classic rock, and I love Blue Collar Man, but I also thought that it fit his character, so I was like, we're going with this one.
All right, fair.
That was another thing I really appreciated about James's taste in music.
See, there is a use for MySpace in 2021.
See, yeah. I'm sad that GeoCities is closed. Otherwise, because there used to be have a GeoCities page, which is so 1995. Actually, no, 1995. It's so 1999, because the web was invented in 1995. James reminded me of Josh Gates from Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown. If anyone knows of him, I don't. I'm a. Does that ring a bell for anyone?
That's a faraway. I don't.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
In the notifications, the references to most of them, I think we all picked up on. What was the first notification, meaning the one at the very bottom of the list with Cupid, Norway, Valentine Tactical Squad?
David, that's a question.
That was yeah. As you said, I sort of just stuffed everything with references. That one was probably the most straightforward one of just, hey, Cupid exists, and he goes around literally just shooting people with arrows, making him dangerous because he shoots people with arrows and can go around the entire world. So that one was the joke one. I'm really glad actually that everyone got the like SCP references and the supernatural references. I was gonna throw a Rick and Morty reference in, but I ran out of time.
I enjoyed the SCP stuff, and I heartily approve of incorporating stuff that's already out there into your new fiction, right? So it becomes part of the larger world. I think my favorite part of the ARG was noticing that the hex translation of the binary in the Ephraim document was his phone number. I felt so proud of myself for noticing that, although I kept missing ones and zeros in the binary. That is cool.
Yeah. That was kind of one thing we were worried about with the binary was, or at least I was that people missing them or just
I
like
was
adding
okay with
different
people
ones.
missing them because I thought that made it more challenging.
Yeah,
You really had to
I
read
know,
for them.
but
they made sure that the
especially
document couldn't be a control F for ones and zeros so that they couldn't just find them immediately.
Yeah, that was also. Yeah.
So, did you call the number?
I personally didn't, but other people did.
Okay.
I called the number like twice. The second one, I was like, "Oh, I'll leave a voicemail because why not?"
Yeah, 10 people called overall.
Do you have the voicemails?
Jada, do you have the voicemails that we left as the creators or the players left?
Some of them were. Oh,
anything good?
Discord.
Oh, you posted them in the Discord. Okay, I'll go look. Okay, so let's see. I was hoping to find a public domain pic of the 67 Impala, so I had to go with a redacted pic to avoid breaking immersion.
I spent about 10 minutes trying to see if there's anything hidden in that pure black image.
Yeah, that was one problem that I thought might arise is, it's like literally just a black square I found on the Creative Commons website. And I'm like, I hope no one thinks this is a puzzle. It's literally just a standard picture. That was a lot of the pictures that I used. And then I believe Gameplay and Tech worked up for the first website puzzle. They took a bunch of the pictures. I think the cleverest one was the robot arm with the number on it. That was really well hidden because originally I specifically looked for a robot arm that didn't have anything on it. And it was added so naturally that I could not tell if I had not picked the picture myself.
Shout out to Nick for that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shout out to Nick for a lot of the kind of Jack, go and poke him. But yeah, no, definitely shout out to definitely shout out to Nick for a lot of the like kind of, he revised a lot. or at least implemented well a lot of the gameplay stuff. So like day 5 beat 2, like he was the one who had the idea of splitting the colors across the other 6 cells, because originally it was just like a thing in the background of cell number 7 that was just all the colors, and he was like, you know, what if we broke this up, because they've been solving them really fast. Maybe if we broke them up, they won't solve it as fast. So yeah, that was a
So I
McKenna's
enjoyed
giving
it in my.
McKenna's giving what looks like an evil it's like,
No, I'm looking at you like a yeah, that worked.
It actually did work. It did take a fair amount of
a
time to solve that puzzle.
okay, if it was all in one picture, it would have taken way shorter time though. Like,
So the final day, I happened to be in the Discord when you guys went live, and I'm just reading along and seeing what people are working on, and I made a suggestion, like, look at the colors and take the first letter of each color, like Roy G. Biv, right? And and then everybody ignored me. Nobody talked to me because I assumed, because everybody thinks I'm trolling because I know all the answers, but I don't know any of the answers. I have no idea.
You technically did know the answer. You just didn't know that was the answer to that puzzle.
I honestly,
I was sitting there laughing the entire time. I'm just watching this go, and like I was so excited too. I'm watching it, and and you guys are like, "Oh yeah, what if we like take the color names and we do this?" And then you do it, and you're like, "Ah, no, that can't be it." I'm like, "Ah!" And then you go into other things, and then I see Dean just go, "What about Roy G. Biv type thing?" And then it just keeps going.
And then boom. And here's the thing. I thought, everybody ignored me and figured it out whatever way it was. And then in this Discord, in the class Discord, I'm like, I think it's hilarious that everybody ignores me and doesn't pay any attention to me. And I think Anthony or Gabe said, no, you posted the right answer, and they got it 5 minutes.
I wasn't in the other Discord, so Gabe posted it, and then I was mad that you,
I'm like,
you were right.
I had no idea. I'm just
no, because honestly, when we came up with that one, like, I think that we came up with that one like day 5. Like, because we were like, yeah, we need to add more to this, because before it was just the element one and then a riddle.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided against the riddle because it could have been a couple of things and it would have just been more confusing. So we were like, yeah, let's add a couple more. So we were like, hey, what if they think it's we'll try and trick them into thinking it's the hex values again, and they have to do something different because they've been so used to it. And then
isn't that the one that I came up with?
What?
Yeah,
Isn't that the one that I came up with?
Yeah, that was Eli.
To answer Emily's question about our thought process behind naming everyone in our class moderator, there wasn't really a thought process around that. We just needed to differentiate our students from the players, and then we wrote in quick that moderators were people that helped Jim out like later before. So Jess covered us on that, I think.
Yeah,
I was so excited to try and yes and that as well. I was getting ready to be like, you know, and we just really like seeing, you know, how you're doing, man. By the way, thanks for helping me translate that Pompeian graffiti. That was really helpful.
That would have been such great interaction. I think that was, along with a lot of other things, a product of me and Gabe up late, just coming up with random solutions to story problems that we had. Yeah.
Okay.
Late night discussions with Gabe led to a lot of the stuff in the art. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I'd get like a
one night, Friday or Saturday night, I came over to my computer at like 1 a.m. and the Discord was just popping off, going bloop 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 bloop.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday night. I was up until about 6 a.m. finishing stuff for the next day. So
it was just one of the weirder experiences I've had in a class, because it was one of the few times where it was, hey, at like 1 a.m. I'm still up trying to go to sleep. I just hear a Discord notification, hey, gameplay, anyone up to talk about tomorrow, or like this thing we have to do soon? I was like, I really should be sleeping.
That's my job as a producer, man. I had to keep everybody on track, no matter what the time was.
It was great.
So I want to first of all, the first person, jeez, Phil for me, Gabe. Phil.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so it was an experience. The writers wrote the majority of the things that were put in chat by characters, but for the most part, I was the one behind the controls. So you might have accidentally seen my name a few times and then quickly delete the message and repost it on the right Discord account. So that was great. I think all the writers did that at one point. I think Jess did it once too. But yeah, it was fun. Most of the stuff was completely scripted. I did make some off-the-fly comments at some times, or changed up a little bit of things to fit what was going on in the chats. But that was really fun role-playing. The last day was interesting, having 3 different Discord accounts open at once and going back and forth between them.
Okay, my phone call's over. I'm back. So I want to congratulate Emily Austin, who is here. She was the first person to crack the flash drive that reporter Dean had and send me the password to get me the information. So Emily, if you will send me a private message in the chat of this here Zoom with an email address that I can send you a Steam code, I will send you a fabulous video game. Well, for some definition of fabulous, I make no guarantees that it's in any way good or interesting. Emily just turned her camera up to her ceiling. Hi, Emily.
I'm on my phone because my computer is being dumb, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just send me a private message with an email address where I can send you a Steam code, and I will give you a fabulous prize for being the first to solve essentially either ARG. You solved it. And I will send you a game. Can you do that? There we go. Okay. It will be an email from Humble Bundle. Not from me. So this is a Steam code from Humble Bundle for a game called Psyoc, which is a dark but playful point-and-click adventure, hand-animated and meticulous frame-by-frame 2D. Escape the clutches of an evil wizard and discover the secrets hidden within the spellbound castle of your ancestors. So that is, thank you for getting me the information, the password. You were the first to do it. I also asked the class to choose an MVP. Gabe, can you tell me who your MVP is? And you had some honorable mentions. Can you say some words about what they did and why they were such awesome players?
So first and foremost, we gave our MVP to Raph because Raph was there practically every day and solved a majority of the puzzles. I was personally a little bit hurt that he figured out the semaphore puzzle so quickly because I did come up with that idea, but I guess that's fair. But yeah, you really were there a lot, and we were very happy that you were engaged with it so much, even though you had final exams and stuff to do. So
I
thank
still
you,
have final
thank you so
exams.
much. Yeah, he was our MVP. Then we had a couple of honorable mentions. Game 7, also known as John's dad by our class. We loved your participation, so we gave you an honorable mention. And also Lyra, I don't know if Lyra's here at the moment. They were
Hello.
also
Hi.
involved for a majority of the days and had a ton of messages in our chat, so we put them as a runner-up as well.
Okay, Raph, and Lyra, and I forget the third one.
John's dad.
John's dad.
Yes, thank you all for that. It was a pleasure. I appreciate the invite, being able to tag along with you all. The sense of community was great. I think you guys did a great job with the story beats, and everyone was eager for the puzzle drops. I just love that sense that everyone was contributing and excited to solve a puzzle. Whoever solved it, whoever nudged it in the right direction, everything went off really great. And a great reaction gift, a great reaction GIF is always nice to see too. So I think Harsh had the one with him running away, James running away after the escape.
Yeah, doing the Naruto run. If you will all send me a private message with an email address, I will send each of you a game code for some game that I have a code for. That may or may not be good. I make no guarantees. Okay. Lyra is first, so Lyra gets a copy of. And remember, this is coming from Humble Bundle.
Sorry, send your message here or in Discord?
Here.
This doesn't seem to be letting me.
You should be able to send a private message. Look for Dean O'Donnell.
Oh, there it is. Chat,
Yeah.
right.
Lyra, you are now the proud owner of something called Smile for Me. Let's see. An unconventional point-and-click adventure game that puts you at the center of an abstract world. Nod and shake your hand to chat with new friends and solve their mysteries to cheer them up. And Reagan's one of our runners up. I'm gonna throw you, send an email, Control V, send email. You are now the proud owner of Rover Mechanic Simulator. You are a mechanic working on one of the first Martian colonies. You have to repair and send out Martian rovers. Phil, also known as John's dad. I'm gonna get all of these. I am gonna send you a copy of Control V, send email. Townsman, A Kingdom Rebuilt. It looks like city building simulator. Taking up too much time. That was Phil, and now Raf. Copy. Raf, how do you feel about horror games? I don't want to send you something that will appeal to you.
Not my thing. No.
Not your thing. Okay. Give me a second. Let's go with, I don't know, last June. Let's see. Done all those. Okay. Gift to a friend. Send an email. Control V. Send email. This is a game called Boundless, and I have no idea. Let me check. Boundless. I'm sure it's a fine game. It doesn't store. Boundless. Quick, look it up. Boundless. Ooh.
Looks pretty cool.
Shape your citizen, forge your destiny, and sculpt your world in this epic voxel sandbox MMO built on endless possibility.
Mostly
Endless
positive.
game. Oh dear God.
Mostly positive.
It's like No Man's Sky except Minecraft.
Okay, which time period No Man's Sky? Release No Man's Sky or current No Man's Sky?
Somewhere in the middle.
I'm afraid for my free time, but this looks amazing. Thank
Well,
you.
summer's coming. You know, what else are you going to do with yourself? Finally, I just want to say thank you all for playing. Creators or players, is there anything that hasn't been said that you want to say?
Yes. How did Ephraim learn how to use technology, given that he's like hundreds of years old?
He's a smart guy. He
Like,
learned.
Had a
I mean,
lot of
yeah,
time to
like,
learn.
yeah, he's not, it's not like he's been dead for years. He's been alive throughout all the
He didn't.
generations. So he kind of figures things out as he grows up.
He was known as the mad scientist of Malden, Mass, right?
Yes.
You just guessed.
So he was a scientist in the 1800s when he came up, right? And continued to be a scientist. He's as smart as Rick. And he read Discord for Dummies. So there we go.
How do those books work for software that's constantly evolving? Like,
There's new editions like every few years.
It's a mystery. It's, you know, dummies stay the same. So again, thanks everybody for playing. I hope you had a good time. If you're around next year around this time, look for odd happenings and strange bumps in the night, because a whole new crop of people will be making strange and interesting things. And everybody who made the game, next year it's your turn to be players and solve things and rail against the unfairness of how difficult puzzles are. So hopefully no free water bottles. Yes. Or, well, I have stories. So once again, thank you. I hope you have a great end of term. And don't stay up all night having meetings. And for people in the class, stop by on Thursday, which is actually Friday. It makes no difference to us. We'll do a little bit of summing up. I won't keep you anywhere near this long. We'll probably be done around 4:15 unless you want to hang out and eat ice cream. So thank you all for coming. Yay, Raf. Yay, all the players who were not in either class. Thank you for finding us and having fun with us. Yay! I'm going to stop.